just before he comes back, I'm sure many of us heard about the guy in boarding school. I talked about it on Facebook a lot yesterday because it really bothered me. I was so disturbed by everything that I read and saw online. I was so unhappy about the situation. Every time I tried to rest, and I was just grateful that I was not at work. That was actually the first official date of my holiday. But every time I tried to rest, it was on my mind. So I just kept churning out all sorts of posts because I know that bullying is it's just so rife in our schools. When I was in Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos, when I was in Queen's College, there was a lot of bullying there. But fortunately for me and my set, we had a Jamaican principal that was drafted in to school as our principal. I saw her last year at Ebano. I didn't know that she was still in Nigeria. It was so emotional and so wonderful to see Princey, Mrs. Marino. And she was able to put a stop to the bullying in my time. So the experience that I had at Queen's College is not necessarily going to be the experience that some people would have in the 60+ years that the school has been around. So she was able to save us. So leadership is very important. I think the worst thing I did as punishment when I was in school, that a senior told me to wash 3 toilets over on 1, 2, 3 floors, and I had to fetch water from a faraway tap and wash and scrub and pound the poo in the toilet. So I know that seniors do all sorts of things in boarding school. And boarding school was an amazing time of my life. I enjoyed it so much. My best friends today are the friends I made in boarding school, but I don't feel the same. I don't feel the same kind of like connection or peace to put my own child in boarding school. For many reasons, say for example, social media has made a lot of perversion available to children. A lot of parents are busy, because I wouldn't say our parents weren't busy. They're doing so much more. There's a lot of distractions around. A lot of parents are not necessarily paying attention to their children. So when children gather in boarding schools, no matter how wonderful the school is, the child cannot the school cannot program the children. Because bear in mind that when they're in secondary school, they're older kids. Even though I know that some people are sending 7, 8, 9-year-olds to boarding school these days, but you find that they come with different value systems, they come with different behaviors, different habits. So it's often even not what the school can control many times. So it can be, different kinds of children will just be in an environment. So we see them behave in different ways, and they are mean to each other. And that's why I personally don't have comfort. I kept repeating yesterday that I went to boarding school. I had a great time. We sang many songs. We stayed up late. We ate noodles and we made noodles with cold water. All sorts of experiences. We had different laughs. We had a funny matron, but we had educators that were committed to us. You see, more and more people that can't find other professions to follow, that couldn't make their grades and their cutoff marks, had the people that have been put into into school education, and many of them end up in the educational sector. They don't have a love for the job or the children or the passion for the children, and so it's just a stopgap job, and that's why you find that the turnover is very high. I'm sure you know 1 or 2 people that are looking for jobs, and you say, oh, if you can't find anything, go and apply as a teacher in a school. Go and that's how they think of teachers, like just any kind of job. So if you have people like that are not really paying, they're just there just because they want to be doing something, not because they love the job, and you're busy as a parent and you put your child in the boarding school, High Cypress Hill School, how are they going to be passionate about your own child? And then how are you going to know what is happening to your child? You see, people were still telling me yesterday that things happen in day schools. Yes, things happen in day school. There's no doubt things happen in day. Who is ignorant of the fact that things happen in day schools? Yes, there's bullying, even my daughter was slapped in day school. But guess what? It was that same day that I knew. And we were able to address the issue. Now, if she was in boarding school and she was slapped, the chances that I will know will be very, very slim. And by the time that I even know, maybe when she comes, I go for visiting day or whatever the case may be, the case might have even died down. She might have forgotten all about it. But this one, we were able to address it hot. And this was by another senior. So I hear the feedback every single day. Things happen every single day. I can't blame the school because some of these children are coming from very dysfunctional homes. They're coming from homes that there are all sorts of things happening in their families. So you can't always say it's the school, is the school. If the child is there and the child is, for example, the parents are not always there, dad is traveling abroad, mom is traveling abroad, they are working late, you are always there with the house help, and you're exposed to watching pornography and all sorts of things. Are you going to blame the school for that? You're not going to blame the school for that. So you can imagine all these children from different backgrounds, they now come into an environment, they now form the children in the school, and then they begin to behave in any way in the school. So they begin to bully, they begin to do all sorts of things. In fact, my ears are full from the things that I've heard yesterday, just between yesterday and today, especially if you go on my Facebook, you just go through my timeline or in my group, you'll be amazed about the stories that people shared with me yesterday from their experiences in boarding school. It's not the same. I had an amazing time in boarding school. I did. 6 years of my life was in boarding school. I enjoyed it. It was good. I mean, at times I didn't want to go to school, just like a normal thing. But I can't tell you that I was abused in any way. Having said that, there were children that were caught in lesbian acts, because I went to a girls only school, and I would not recommend it to anybody. I went to a girls only school, and there were children that were caught in lesbian acts, and they were paraded up and down the quadrangle, and they were embarrassed. And some of them, I see them today. I wouldn't necessarily say that they were lesbians then. Maybe they were just exploring, and they weren't guided, and they weren't told about all these things, and they were doing it, and they got caught in the act. So because I know one or two of them now with children, and they are getting on with their lives. I mean, so when all these things happen in boarding school, they scar us, they scar children, and then people will say they turned out all right. Now, what is the definition of turning out all right? Many people will say, oh, I have a job, I have a car, my wife, my husband, my this. Is that the definition of turning out all right? We don't know the internal issues, and you probably don't even know the issues until later on in life. Some people are not even able to be great lovers to their spouses. They have issues that they are hiding away because society makes you believe that if you've been abused, it's a thing of shame, and it's something that you should be embarrassed about. Whereas it's the person, the abuser, that should be ashamed. It's the abuser that should be victimized. Nobody should abuse other children. But you find that hurt people hurt people. It's a cycle. So those children that are abusing other children, they've probably even been abused at home. And then those ones, when they now become seniors, they will do the same to the juniors. And it will continue and continue and continue. I mean, I had a lady that was telling me also about her son that was in boarding school. She had to pull out her son in boarding school this year, this short year that we've just opened. And what was happening in the boys' hostel, and big school, and the boys were using pillows to arouse themselves. They're using a wall to arouse themselves. So then they started telling the boy that he has a bottom like a girl and things like that. So he was able to get in touch with his mom to let him know, Mommy, I don't feel safe here. I don't want to be here. And so the mom came to the school. They moved him to another hostel. And the same thing was still happening, moving to a third one. And she said, this third one is going to be, I don't even want to be a bother anymore. So she's had to remove her son from boarding school because all these sort of things that were happening in the schools. So what is it that we are pretending not to know? Just the same way that we have examination malpractices. There's examination malpractice in schools, and it's become a culture. And when we talk about it, people will be like, oh, everybody does it. So the same is now happening with abuse. They're like, oh, we all experienced it. We all went through it. We're all beaten, and we turned out all right. Now, think about our leaders. They were in boarding school. They were all beaten. Look at the state of the nation, and they're meting it out to us. We're complaining. We can't complain about what we tolerate. We can't complain. So if we are complaining about all these issues, but we're not doing anything about it. You know, that lady was so brave to come out and say something, because you know, in Nigeria, all sorts of things, they will sweep it under the carpet. And I've started hearing, even on this my Instagram handle, somebody posted something there that the boy used to excrete, and he used to bedwet, and he won't clean his bottom, and that's why his anus was bruised and stuff like that, that he wasn't actually molested. And this was coming from another young boy in his class, in his dorm. And I'm thinking, is that the testimony you're going to take above what has actually happened to this child? You know, do we even show any empathy? Do we actually love these children? Do we care? You know, these boys, the thing is, I can't condemn the mom for putting his face up. I can't even condemn anything, because when you're a mom and you're in pain, you just want help. So I can't really say, oh, this is this, because I know that in Nigeria, she probably didn't do that. Nothing. There'll be no traction. At least we know things have happened and they suspended the principal and things are happening now. But if she didn't do anything, sorry, madam, sorry. In fact, sometimes people will die in this country. He's sorry. He's sorry. Accountability doesn't really lie with anybody. So making noise, showing up her son's face, we can't really condemn her. She did what a mother would do. The Yoruba people would call it, I'm not a Yoruba person, by the way, I just understand Yoruba. They would call it itaraomo. You know, she was hurting and she needed help for her son. And she did whatever she was that she could do. So call it right or call it wrong. But when I was reading comments, people were like, is that all that happened to him? What things happened to them in schools? You know, it's called learned helplessness. When you are used to being abused and you continue to accept it. We have been abused and abused as a nation. We continue to accept it. Our seniors are abusing juniors. Juniors are becoming seniors and they are repeating the cycle. And horrible things are happening all the time. And we keep excusing, oh, we are expected to be very thin when you go to boarding school. Yes, I used to lose weight when I went to boarding school, but I wasn't skin and bones. I used to complain about the beans that I used to put. In fact, we see them putting water. Pouring water into beans. I see those mamas, when they do okra, sometimes they'll just pour water so that it can go around. And we'll laugh at it and we'll say, oh, yucky, or whatever the case may be. And we'll still eat it. And nobody expects you to go to boarding school and be fresher than at home, ideally. But nobody expects you to go to boarding school and then be stick thin and be all bones and stuff like that. They don't want you to. That's not the way it's supposed to be. So there's a lot of counseling that is required. There's a lot of healing of the spirit, of the soul, of the body, and the body, not only of the boy, but of the family as well. So I'm praying for them, and I pray that you are praying for them as well, that they can get through this time. And the thing is, that boy has set so many people free. He has set other people going through that abuse in that school, in any school, you know. Whatever the case may be, in any school that is happening, they will start checking it. They will be scared in case somebody comes and does the same thing. They will keep an eye. So he's actually a hero. He's actually a hero for just, you know, mention. He wasn't quite the one that mentioned it. He wasn't sitting well and things like that. But his mom spoke to another guy who was a talkative. Like me, and that one was the one that was able to tell what happened in the store and what had been happening. That little guy told the mom that he had been abused, and then another child is now saying he wasn't abused, that is because when he goes to the toilet he doesn't clean up his bottom, and that is why he was having bruises, because they said he used to smell in school. It's on my, I even had to screenshot it in case the person removed it and they tell me I'm telling a lie. I had to screenshot it because I just couldn't believe that somebody would take that sort of account and believe it, you know. Even if you don't want to believe the woman, don't believe that, you know, the guy had bruises from pooing and he didn't know how to clean his bottom before he came to boarding school. Imagine that. Imagine that. Is that, and then that's why the seniors wanted to check his anus? Do you have a right to check anybody's anus? So all sorts of things are happening in our schools. It's really sick, and I just pray that people open their eyes. You know, it might be convenient to have your child in boarding school, yes, because the hustle, I tell you, sometimes when I take my daughter to school, sometimes we don't get home till like 8 o'clock in the evening, if on a bad day, and it's not ideal. It is not ideal. When she was in primary school, her school was walking distance from the house. It was in the estate, very, very close, and that is the way life should be. You know, have a school in your county, in your suburb area, whatever the case may be. But when it came to boarding school, the big boarding schools are around. The caliber of the one she's going to right then, not boarding school, there's big secondary schools around, the caliber of the one she's going to now. But I didn't want them. I wanted a school that would suit her. And I still posted today that there are no good schools. There are only good schools for your child. So even if they're telling you that the school is 100 years old and they're doing amazing things and have the awards in the wall, that school might not be the ideal school for your own child. That school may be a completely different, may not just be right for your child at all. So I have another friend, Ruth, which she's also on this page, and she has twin boys. I always use her as an example. Twin boys in the UK, and one was like depending on the other one, and she separated their schools. Is it convenient? No. One goes to school A, one goes to school B, so that they can be independent. They're not relying on each other because they are twins. And that is a big thing to do, because parents will just put all their children in one school and say, oh, they're all supposed to be in one school. It's convenient for them. We don't have children for convenience, and we don't even have to have children. It's a lie that we have to have children. It's culture. Some people don't want to have children. One child is too much for them. It stresses them out. But the Wucha puts them in, you just keep having them, and then you hand them over to house girls, domestic workers. You are beating them, you are abusing them, and all sorts of things are happening. We don't all have to have children. We must let that sink in. All this, 9 months from today you will have a child, 9 months from today you have a child, and then the child comes and the child is the one that is suffering because the parents are not there, and the children are with the house help, and those house help abuse them. A lot of guys will tell you that their first sexual encounter was with their domestic worker, their house girl at home. This is what happens a lot. This is what happens. So abuse is everywhere. Yes, it's in day schools, it's in boarding schools. But would you rather know what is happening on a daily basis, or you go and put the child in the boarding school of Nigeria today? That even girls and girls are on each other. Boys and boys are on each other. Everything is sex. That's all they know. There's nothing they want to even use their head to think about anymore. And having an open communication. Parents will say, I know my child very well. My child can never do that. That is the worst thing you can ever say about anybody. Don't trust anybody. I mean, when I say trust, I use it loosely. It means that your children are independent beings. They tell you what they want to tell you. If you have a good rapport with your child will open up to you and tell you things. My daughter tells me things. She tells me a lot of things, deep stuff, But if she chooses not to tell me some things, then I have to respect that. I have to respect that. Stop saying you can understand that there's some things they will say your child did and you will struggle to believe it. But you want to find out from the child, really, if the child really, really did those sort of things. Because those children that are abusing other children in the boarding schools, that are raping other children, sodomizing other children, bullying them, beating them up, they belong to us. Are they not from families? Are they not from homes? Or did they just fall down from heaven, or they came from the jungle? They belong to people. And those boys that are sodomizing other people, their parents too and their mothers and fathers to be at home saying my son can never sodomize anybody. But there are many of them, not only one boy that is sodomizing people now. There are so many boys sodomizing children all around Nigeria. Are they not our children? Are they not coming from different homes? Their parents not pay school fees. But their parents will be in denial. They will say, no, my child can never do that. And then the child is a monster doing all sorts of things. You don't even know what is happening because we're not available to our children.